Isn't that something?
Well, it's a big. I just took a sigh of relief because it is a sigh of relief when it makes sense. Like a lot of this stuff just didn't make sense. I mean, that's what led you to your studies and me to my studies and so many others. Like, it's just not all connecting. The dots are not connecting. Like something's missing.
They don't connect the dots.
The story plot.
They purposely don't connect the dots.
Right. Yep.
Are we on camera?
You're not. You are.
They just anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So Tom and I are going to talk about something that just kind of happened last week. Oh my gosh. So, I was talking to somebody who happens to
be well educated,
well-educated.
very educated on the Bible and on God and Jesus and religion.
And actually writes curriculum
Mm-hmm.
for Christian schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to him, so I want to talk to you about the trees that were in the garden. There was two of them. One was called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and the tree of life. Now, were there other trees in the garden? Yeah. But what they talked about in Scripture was this tree that was called the tree of the knowledge of good and evil.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Was it called a maple tree?
Of the knowledge.
Why would you call a tree the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and then say, well, there's no significance to that?
Well, to jump to the line after you describe this, those aren't that important. Those aren't that important.
So, there's another tree in there called the tree of life, but there's no significance to that tree. The only thing that man need to know about the garden experience was God said, don't eat from this tree. They ate from this tree. Man was disobedient, and sin passed upon all man. That's it. That's as deep as it gets. Now, that same person is going to go every Sunday. He's going to stand up in a building. Man, he's going to tell you all about the lamppost in the temple. I mean, the significance of those lampposts in the temple. Oh my gosh. And then he's going to go back to the Greek.
Right. Yep.
Gosh, he's going to go back to the Greek.
And every other small detail of the Bible. But
the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and the tree of life, no significance. And I said to him, okay, so you're telling me that man operates in this is right and this is wrong. But we can't make the connection between out here in the world, all of man operates in a belief system of this is right and that's wrong. But we can't make the connection between what man believes in and what he eats from.
the tree of knowledge.
The fruit from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So what are we trying to do? We trying to not make the connection. Like when I say all of man operates off a belief system of this is right and that's wrong. But what we're really doing is we're saying, I don't want to believe that.
Making some assumptions.
So we can't. We honest to God. We search the scriptures. The scribes and the Pharisees searching the scriptures. And we can't make the connection between man's belief system today. What? 2,000 plus years ago? We can't can't make the connection between that and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Can't do it.
Right. Which seems pretty common sense to me.
And I don't know, it just seems to me, Paul was talking about in Romans, I try to do the good thing, I keep doing the bad thing. What'd he do? He says, the commandment, the old covenant, is accusing me. Is it too much of a stretch to understand that the tree of the knowledge of good and evil represented the old covenant? The law? The thing that tells us
What's good and what's not.
what's good and what's not. The thing that measures us. The thing that was measuring Paul in Romans. Well, what did Paul find out? He said, I discovered liberty. And I found out it was no longer me doing these things, but he that lives within me. It doesn't mean that. It can't mean that. So listen, I don't know, but is it too much of a stretch to say that Adam and Eve, after they ate from the fruit, they clothed themselves with fig leaves? I don't know, maybe it was because they were standing under the fig tree. Which, oh, by the way, you can trace through the Bible. What's the end of the fig tree? Well, withered and died.
By Jesus.
Didn't the old covenant wither and die? Didn't the old covenant die? Well, what about the tree of life? What about the tree of life? What does that represent? Well, what isn't life? Wouldn't life be the new covenant? Where we're coming out